Afghanistan, land of extremes, ravaged by war, and one of the most dangerous countries in the world. So you might wonder why I'm here. I came all the way from Australia for love. She was an aid worker in Kabul, and I was planning to propose. But it didn't work out as planned. I was broke, broken-hearted, and stuck in a war zone. But crazy things happen in Afghanistan. So when these TV guys called and asked me if I wanted to do a travel show about the country, I was ready to listen. They wanted me to find Afghan stories that had never been told. And me? I jumped at the chance. And that's how I became the extreme tourist. I'm on a quest to find two very elusive things in Afghanistan. The mysterious Kochi nomads, who I want to join on their yearly trek across the desert, and the snow leopard, a dangerous and mighty animal rarely seen by foreigners, whose popularity with hunters is rapidly endangering its existence. This is a two-part quest that will see me go undercover in the fur trade, endure a road trip from hell, get shot at swimming a river border, take up arms with a famous hunter, race camels with Afghan nomads, and give a masterclass in hip-hop. But it all starts with the search for the snow leopard. I want to see one in the wild, and my first port of call is Kabul, the capital of Afghanistan. Now, I've come to the famous chicken street, which, as far as I can tell, has no chickens, but plenty of cultural artifacts and tourist knickknacks. And according to my sources, hidden behind all of this is a major black market for animal pelts, and in particular, the snow leopard. So I'm going to go undercover and see how easy it is to buy one. Within minutes, these shopkeepers produce illegal snow leopard pelts for me to buy, ranging from $300 to $1,500, depending on the number of bullet holes in the fur.
This is the snow leopard?
Despite huge fines for transporting across international borders, they tell me foreigners are still eagerly lining up to buy the pelts, which is why, despite a complete hunting ban across Afghanistan, snow leopards continue to be killed. So there you go, not so underground after all. Now, there's only supposed to be about 100 to 200 snow leopards left in Afghanistan, but you saw how easy it was to buy those pelts and how many there were in that actual shop, let alone the whole of Kabul and the other markets. So it made me realize that it's not enough just to hunt down the snow leopard. I want to hunt down the hunters of the snow leopard. And to do that, I've got to go to Badakshan. Badakshan, a province known for its precious gems, its poppy, its isolation, and its spectacular scenery. With mountains so high, Marco Polo reckoned even birds couldn't fly there, which is why it's also famous for snow leopards. They mainly inhabit the Wakhan Corridor, a long, thin 140-mile stretch of land separating Afghanistan from Tajikistan in the north, Pakistan in the south, and China in the east. Badakshan is so isolated, the only way to get there is by UN plane. After a heart-stopping landing, I arrive in the capital, Faizabad, one of the poorest cities in the country. After a quick look around, I decide to begin my search for the snow leopard through a more conventional route. A tourist office. But unfortunately, it seems to be closed or shut down. And then I see this man. Do you speak English?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Great. And it turns out he works for the tourist office. In Pamir.
Yeah, in Pamir.
I ask him about getting to the Wakhan Corridor to track down the snow leopards.
No, it's very long.
It's a long way.
You must drive minimum 2 days.
Minimum 2 days.
Yes.
He shows me how far we'll have to walk. But the full trip will be massive, which is why I want to make sure my plan to track down hunters is viable.
If there are people out there who are hunting them, shooting them, how can I find them? I want to be able to find those people.
I think it's not easy. Because nobody want to shoot their illegal jobs.
Right.
He says he might be able to find me a guide, but it will take him a couple of days. I don't want to wait that long, so I hook up with a fixer I know named Hamid. A fixer is a guy who sorts things out for journalists, and Hamid says he knows a man out in the Wakhan who can help me, an English doctor named Alex. Hamid assures me that Alex will be able to help us find guides to track down the snow leopard. The only problem is we'll have to drive for 3 days just to get from the capital Faizabad to find him. The next morning we head off on our snow leopard expedition, and I'm blown away by what I see. Badakshan has some of the most spectacular landscape in the world. Day one of the trip comes to an end, and despite the bad roads, we've made good time. But on day two, my trip takes a turn for the worse. Firstly, I come down with a sickness that means when I'm not running to the nearest toilet,
Back off. Stay right there.
I'm inside the car with a headache and a raging fever. All of which is made worse by the terrible roads and the fact that our car keeps breaking down repeatedly. It doesn't bode well for the rest of the trip. And then there's the checkpoints. At each town or village, you have to take in a permission letter to the man in charge to get him to sign off on it. If he does, you can go through. If not, you have to wait and convince him. This happens time and again, and because we are foreigners, the security people hold us for longer. And finally, there are the bombshells dropped by my fixer friend, Hamid.
We're 1.5 days into a 3-day journey, and my fixer has just told me that he doesn't have the number of the guy that we're going to visit. He didn't call him before we left, and he doesn't know if he'll actually be there when we arrive, which means that at the end of 3 days, we could be in the middle of nowhere in Badakshan and have absolutely nothing to show for it. So if he's not there, we're fucked.
That night, we sleep at a rustic little guest house, and I try to relax with a nice cup of tea and a lie down. But the next day, things turn deadly. Melting snow from the mountains has turned the road into a series of raging torrents. This is dangerous. One false move and the car goes over. With us in it. We get through the first river. And the second. But they don't stop coming. And now, we're stuck. This is not good. If we get permanently stuck, our chances of rescue are small, and that puts us in a very dangerous position.
Basically, now they're trying to throw rocks in to reroute the river or to stop the river altogether. I'm not so sure about that. There seems to be no lines of communication open. But basically, if we get stuck here for tonight, we're in deep shit. Because this is not the kind of place that you want to be stuck.
I still don't understand exactly why we're doing this. It's a river. It's not going to change course because 4 guys throw rocks in it.
Where is the water actually going to go to? Is it going to make any difference? Thank God. We're safe. Help is on the way.
But while I wait for the horsepower to arrive, the car still won't move. And for some reason, rerouting the river still seems to be our most viable option, although we've downscaled our ambitions. We're going to build a wall along one side of the car.
Okay, so I think that the wall idea, you can see over there, partial success. A long way from it, so we're going to push now.
Still no success. Typical male frustration ensues. The guy on the donkey who had actually stopped to help us now makes a run for it.
That man on the donkey has given up, demanded money, got some, and left. So much for humanity. It's just up to us now. We're the only ones that can get us out of this mess.
But as per usual, I speak too soon. It's workers from a development agency coming back from a health mission. This is incredible luck for us. But strangely, without even consulting us or preparing the car, they hook up a winch to our truck, and then this happens.
You need to put the rocks
I try to explain that we need to put rocks under the wheels of our car, prepare it together rather than just winch away. And that's what we do before having one last go at getting it out. And finally, success. Typical male celebration ensues. And we're off again, very lucky to have escaped. After 3 days of hell, we arrive at a village that is close to Dr. Alex's place. Now we can finally make some headway in our search for the snow leopard. While Hamid goes off to get directions to Dr. Alex's house, his friend invites me in for a cup of tea. I'm now going to find out if the guy we've come all this way for, Alex, is here.
خانه الکس کجاست؟
نوامدیم فکر میکنیم فعلا الکس کارش در اینجا ختم شده و او رفته شاید به انگلستان رفته یا
Bear in mind that after 3 days of driving, Alex is the only link we have to finding the snow leopard hunters. And Hamid assured me he'd be here. Hamid is just back from his search for Alex's house, and he hasn't yet heard the terrible news.
Mr. Sabur, you want to go to Alex?
Not anymore, no. But you know why I don't want to go?
No.
Because he's not there.
Oh dear.
Not there.
No, you're joking.
No.
Oh, همطرست.
نیستن الکس نیستن
I'm going out of my mind.
Basically, if we still want to track down a snow leopard, which is our whole aim, then something's going to have to come up fast, because otherwise we're dead in the water.
In the morning, we head back the way we came. The mood is not good amongst us. Hamid is taking us to a village where he thinks he can find a snow leopard fur salesman. But I don't care anymore. I'm really sick. I just want to get out of here. Then, on day 5 of this road trip from hell, out of pure frustration, I do something that is completely stupid and life-threatening. After being cooped up in a car for 3 days doing nothing but looking out the window, I'm desperate to get some extreme tourist action. And what better way to do that than to explore another country? Just across this raging body of water called the Pianj River lies the nation of Tajikistan, which makes the river an international border, and technically that means you're not supposed to cross it without permission. It's also apparently a major entry point for drug smugglers and border hoppers, which is why there's a military base just across the other side.
But there is a guy up there with a gun. Of course, the problem is that he can't see that I'm not an Afghan, because I'm in Afghan clothes. He probably thinks that it's some kind of escape attempt.
This will turn out to be the most dangerous morning dip I'll ever take. As I'm gallivanting around in Tajikistan, what I don't know is that coming over the top of the hill are these two guys. Two soldiers armed with guns. They're about to reach me when I turn and see them. For some reason I shout out in English, "I'm going back!" and I dive in, hoping they won't shoot.
What, you can't go for a friendly swim? Cross borders?
I literally just dodged a bullet.
I was going to say that there's no mines or police, only prickles. And I guess that's their defense against the Afghans who try to come across. But there's police.
The next time I visit the nation of Tajikistan, I think I'll take a more formal route. After this major escape, our luck seems to change. Hamid gets a tip-off about a man who sells snow leopard pelts in a village nearby. The search is back on. We arrive at the village and head straight to the seller's house.
Salam. This one killed 40 sheep.
In the flat,
40 sheep he killed. Wow. Which village was this killed near? Chandas, how much is it? Chanda.
That's around 3,500 American dollars.
It's quite beautiful, huh?
I feel quite sad. There's a difference between seeing a pelt in the market in Kabul and actually holding one out in the wild, so close to where it was killed.
Now, apparently the place where this snow leopard was killed is the home of the most famous hunter in all of this region. His name is Ghulam Adi, and this guy reckons that if anyone can help me track down a live snow leopard, then it's him. So that's where we're going now.
First time, I can see a light at the end of the tunnel in our search for the snow leopard. We arrive just before sunset.
Salam, khubasti.
And finally, after 5 days, I meet a snow leopard hunter.
I heard that you are a famous hunter of the snow leopard, and what we want to do is go out with you tomorrow, if possible, and hunt down the snow leopard. How many snow leopards have you killed?
6 دونه. 6 دونه پلنگ.
And do you kill them because they attack your animals, or do you hunt them just for the skins?
سری ایوانات سری همی بزد گسپند می اومد بزدمشون سری جانداری کو.
Tomorrow, what are our chances of actually seeing a snow leopard?
نه بسیار بلند است. ساد دمی ما پراست بسیار بلند است. برف کی باشد زیر میخم بعد. دقیق خشکی بسیار بلند است.
Is it okay if we stay here with you tonight in your home? I'm sorry that we've come at the last minute and you probably didn't know about us.
در روز باشی مهمونی مستی. در روز که باشی بالای چیش.
And that, to me, is the essence of Afghan hospitality. A dirty foreigner turns up out of nowhere after sunset and says, "Hey, will you take me hunting tomorrow? And also, can I stay the night?" And the Afghan says, "No problem, stay 10 days." It really is a blessing to be part of it. Sometimes I have to pinch myself over the surreal nature of what I'm doing. That night, I sit with a room full of Afghan men out in the middle of nowhere, drinking tea, talking, and watching Indian soap operas until it's time to go to bed. And we go to bed early, because tomorrow we've got a 3 a.m. start. But the next morning, our plan for a quick getaway is thwarted by my stupid choice of footwear.
Perfect. So we are finally, after all this time, after all this travel, coming all the way from Kabul, we're gonna go see a snow leopard.
I've already decided that this expedition is my last attempt at finding the snow leopard. I know how rare it is for foreigners to see it. There are some snow leopard researchers who still haven't seen it after 10 or 20 years of trying. So if it doesn't happen today, then it's not going to happen, and I'm leaving.
چی میبینیم؟ مستا؟ پلنگ است؟
نیست.
نیست؟
پلنگ نیست.
I heard that the snow leopard makes a funny sound, not like lions or tigers or other things. Makes a funny sound when it growls.
راست میکند همین زمین جنبش میکند که زخمی میشد سرنش رفتن نمیشد همین که میرم اما راست میکند دیگه میگوی که همین زمین میجنبد بس شاید یک اوقات چی دارد
Muhammad started hunting when he was 16 years old. It's fascinating to watch him at work. I want to find out more about his feelings on the snow leopard.
Some white people, they spend 10, 20 years looking for the snow leopard because they think it's so beautiful and they never see it in 10, 20 years. But you have seen many. How do you feel about the snow leopard?
چیزی ظالم است که به خاطر نمی آووز به خاطر بزرگستان دیگه در غیر است نه اما سالش که بسیار کلان شد دو پیشنا نمیتونه.
If the snow leopard did not kill your animals, would you still hunt it?
نه میره بود در دیگه جا اگر اونجا شکار شد نشده که بود حرکت میکند بود در دیگه جا
How do you feel about the people who hunt the snow leopard just for the skin, just to kill the leopard and get the money for the skin?
دیگه بود او یک چیزی ظالم است دیگه که اینولی نقصان میکنه.
اینولی همی گرگ میزند در مال 10 تر 15 تر یکی میخره به خبر نشه خور نزنی خود سگ نگیردش مشکل است دیگه یک چیزی ظالم
Muhammad also tells me that he wouldn't eat the meat of a snow leopard either because it's against Islam. So what's becoming clearer to me is that while I started my search for the snow leopard thinking I was going to meet evil poachers and hunters, many of these supposed assassins are actually farmers protecting their livestock. And then suddenly, Muhammad thinks he sees a snow leopard and the hunt is on. But it's a false alarm, and I think that that's as close as I'm going to get to seeing a snow leopard. I've done my best on this trip, but I've got a plane to catch out of the capital in 48 hours, and so for now, it's over to part 2 of my quest. Over in another province called Balkh, I'm planning to track down the nomads of Afghanistan, and finding them will hopefully be a little more attainable than the snow leopard. As I've travelled around Afghanistan, I've noticed these distinctive people walking along the side of the road with their animals. They're known as the Coochies, the nomads of Afghanistan. I've learned that each year they make long treks from one part of the country to the other to take their animals to better pasture. I want to walk with them across the desert from Balkh to Faryab to get an insight into a culture that has rarely been seen. There's just one problem. My security advisors in Kabul are refusing to give me permission to go.
They're saying that we can't go out of the cities, that it's too dangerous to sleep in the districts, that there's Taliban and there's criminals and somebody's going to get murdered and they can't support us on this.
So what do you want to do?
I'm angry and frustrated because I've been planning this trip for a long time and I don't want to pull out now that I'm so close.
I guess we're just going to have to do it on our own.
But there is another problem, actually finding the Coochies. Because they're nomadic, most Coochies have historically not owned land, so they're always on the move and it's not easy to track them down. They don't mix with outsiders and vice versa. And so despite visits to the sub-governor and the district chief of police, I'm finding it almost impossible to actually track down any Coochies, and I know I'm running out of time before they all leave. And then one day when my motorbike breaks down and I'm forced to start taking taxis, I get my big break. I meet a taxi driver who knows some Coochies that are living on the outskirts of town, and they have not left on their trek across the desert. I'm finally going to meet some Coochies, and I'm really excited.
Salam, Amin, khoshbakht.
This is Gusuddin, head of one of the few Coochie families in the area who have not yet left on their trek across the desert. He asked me to explain why I've come to see them.
The reason that I'm here is because, there are not many nomads or Coochie nomads left around the world. And that's why I want to come along with you on your travels on this trip to find out from the inside how you live and what you do. So I guess the question is, can I come with you?
Here we go, the moment of truth. I'm expecting opposition. I'm really going to have to fight for my place. Hang on.
Okay, tashakkur, thank you.
Oh, it's that easy. I'm in.
What problems are there out there? What problems will we face out there? Okay, I think I can do that.
And with my ticket to ride, I get my first meal as part of a Coochie family, a yogurt drink called dog, and a traditional Coochie flatbread. Tomorrow, the journey begins.
Khubas, that's very nice.
But I'm under no illusion as to what my biggest threat will be: security. Once I'm out there, in the open spaces of the desert, I'm easy prey for any kidnappers or Taliban who hear about my movements. From this moment on, my life comes under the protection of this small family of Coochies, and I have to hope that that's enough. The next morning, I'm back out with the Coochies, excited about the journey ahead.
Salam, khubastin. Salam.
The Coochie women will be going separately to us. I've been told that normally the Coochies are a lot more liberal about women than the rest of the country, but obviously not in this case. Now it's time for some last-minute preparations.
You need some? زیاده است. سر من زیاده است.
Kalan big.
آها.
And finally, we're off. off across the desert on our trek to Faryab. Only 10 days and more than 300 kilometers to go.
Ustad, how do you feel when you start a journey?
څنګه به ځم نو خو دغه لار د ځو به خپل هر څه چې په زړه کې وه هغه به وو نو څه خبره ده.
You don't get tired of walking?
نه خو دا به حرکات یو بس سرګرداني ده د په کوچې ده د دې دا بارکال ته واړوه دغه دا بارکال ته واړوه کوچې عمر په دغه سر دی.
So every year you go from Balkh to Faryab?
هو داسې غر د ایستې وړي د سنچاریاک هغه منطقې دي. موږ هغه غرو ته ځو برته راځو دغه مو ژوند دی. شش کال خو بیا بیخي اسمان اورېدلې مالونه وږي دي پر مځکه شی نشته وچکالي راغله.
Why do you keep doing it then?
نو څنګه وکړو بله چاره نه لرو بله چاره نه لرو چې کوچیتوب ونه کړو بله زندګي مو دغه دی نو بل شی نشته زیاتره بس په دغه چاره سرګردانه وي. ملک نه لرو ځکه نه لرو چې زموږ پټۍ نه لرو زیاتره کوچي در بدره بس په حال.
We sing some Kochi songs. I get to drive the Kochi version of the Toyota Corolla, a donkey.
This is the Afghan Corolla. Runs a beauty.
And then my first ever ride on a camel. Which turns into a lesson in camel whispering.
You see that? And to get it up, what do I have to do? Great, it's like a little switch that goes there. How do you think? Oh, okay, it doesn't like me anymore. Ready?
But the fun doesn't last for long. As we approach lunchtime, there are security concerns. Unbeknownst to me, the Kochis have told the district police chief that a foreigner will be traveling with them, and he has sent 2 of his men to trail us for the whole trip. I'm traveling in his area of command, and if anything was to happen to me, it will reflect badly on him. I guess it's just another form of hospitality. But on the other hand, the security might not be such a bonus, because it could draw attention to us, and that is never a good thing. But for now, they let us go on our way.
And we're off.
I'm starting to have some serious doubts about being out here alone. We finally stop for lunch, but there's nothing to eat, except berries. But for the Kochis, it's normal to only have one real meal a day, which they have at night.
Is it getting harder and harder to be a Kochi these days?
مشکل دی زموږ مالونه خطر سوه داسې خطر سوه د بلیږې مړه سوه د بلیږې خلاص فیصله سوه د بلیږې دغه شی نشته دغه قدر شی نشته په دغه نشته دغه قدر شی نشته بس.
But despite all of these problems, you look very happy. What is your secret?
نو مجبور یو نو څنګه کو نو خبره خدا دغسې نو شي بس خوشحاله نو څه به مو په وس ها.
And what are we having for lunch today? These things? What do you normally have for lunch?
As the camels eat their lunch, I try to ease my hunger pangs by sleeping. But I'm interrupted by some very worrying security news.
So there was a Talib killed over there only a week ago. Everybody's still on edge in this area, still pretty tense. Apparently it's still really dangerous. So we have to watch out.
And it means we have to move on quickly. The future uncertain. But that uncertainty is something I'm beginning to realize that the Coochies have to live with all the time.
What do you love about the Kochi lifestyle?
څه مجبوره یم د کوچېدو شی ولاړې هېڅ شی خوښ نشته یو اوښ وه مېږې وې ولاړې زه ترې دا بوخ ولاړې
You don't like anything of the Kochi otherwise?
I've heard that many Afghans are antagonistic towards the Coochies for a number of reasons. Because they walk their animals across their private land without permission, because they supposedly steal livestock, and because they allegedly had a close relationship with the Taliban, the Islamic political group that ruled Afghanistan with an iron fist from 1996 to 2001, but generally left the Coochies alone. Gusuddin offers a simple explanation for this.
موږ د کوچیانو مالدار و غرو ته تلو بس په غرو کې ګرځېدلو موږ ته چندانې داخله چا نه کوله.
The day is long and hard. The sun is blistering. I keep on getting rocks in my sandals. And I'm getting weaker because I'm starving. But I wanted to experience the Coochie lifestyle, and this is it. But despite my discomfort, I noticed that the kids maintain their sense of humor, as do the adults. So I keep my mouth shut and try to settle into a rhythm, a Coochie rhythm. And then, after a full day of walking, just before nightfall, we reach our destination.
Okay, so we've just reached this little village before nightfall, and we're actually going to go and stay in the local mosque here and set our tent there.
I feel like I've earned this after a long day. But it's not over yet, because the police have arrived to alert us to a new security problem. The policeman tells me it's too dangerous to stay. The mosque has no walls. It's way too open to attack, and he says him and his mate will not be able to save us if we're attacked. So now it's nearly nightfall, and we don't have a place to stay. We're walking back to a village we passed earlier in the day to see if someone will give us shelter for the night. I am stuffed, my body is aching, and I'm really worried about what's going to happen. So the Coochies tell me to take a break while they try to sort something out in the village. I feel bad that I've put them out like this. Were my security advisors right in not supporting us coming out here? What if we can't find a place to stay tonight? I feel terrible. I've put everyone in a lot of danger. And then the call comes. The Coochies might have a solution. This compound is actually owned by a Coochie, a village elder, and it seems he's inviting us to have dinner at his house.
Salam.
If we can get him to let us stay the night in his compound, then at least we'll have some walls to sleep inside, and that would be a relief.
زیاد تکلیفای تا ببخش میمان دما خدمت د شما میکنیم
Ma'am.
بچوشم ما یک روز کی باشی تا 100 روز ما د خدمت شما هستیم.
Once again, the spirit of Afghan hospitality shines through. It never ceases to amaze me. We have a place to stay. Not entirely safe, but it's better than being out in the open.
I wanted to say that because you have been so hospitable for us, that later on tonight I wanted to share with you some traditional folk songs from where I come from.
Tu mata mehman melma په چشمو سترګو څه چې زموږ ورونو اولاد ټول کېږي ستا خدمت کوو تاسې مېلمانه استئ موږ ته.
Thank you.
We eat a meal fit for a king. And the generosity doesn't end there. After the meal is over, Kochi children gather and serve me the dessert, a smorgasbord of Kochi folk songs and dances. For every song they sing, I sing a folk song of my own.
Waltzing Matilda, Matilda, my darling, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. And he sang as he watched and waited till his billy boiled. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me.
And despite vast differences between the two cultures, our storytelling art seemed to be quite similar.
Oh my darling, oh my darling, oh my darling Clementine, you were lost and gone forever, awfully sorry Clementine.
Although in certain places it's tough to match these kids for detail. I don't think that's a traditional Kochi song, but not to be outdone, I reached deep into my own childhood for the only folk song I know all the words to.
This is a famous folk song from America. Yo, Vanilla, kick it one time, boy. All right, stop. Collaborate and listen. Ice is back with a brand new invention. Something grabs a hold of me tightly, flows like a harpoon daily and nightly. Will it ever stop? Yo, I don't know. Turn out the light and I'll glow. To the extreme, I rock a mic like a vandal. Light up the stage, I can chomp like a candle. If there was a problem, yo, I solve it. Check out the hook on my DJ remote.
As I've always thought, there are certain things that cross all cultural barriers: food, drink, sport, and vanilla ice. What an amazing experience. And it doesn't end there. The singing and dancing continues until deep into the night.
It's 3 a.m. in the morning, and I'm not allowed to sleep because apparently the word has got around this district and this village that there are 2 foreigners staying in this particular area, and according to the owners here, our lives are kind of in danger. So he's put 2 guards, 2 people with AK-47s on the front gate, which is open, by the way. It's pitch black, we can't see a thing, and he's told us that we should probably stay awake for most of the night to keep watch. So Jake and I are taking it in turns to stay awake, and at the moment it's my shift. And the dogs have fucking gone off. So there's only another 4.5 hours until morning, until sunlight.
And it's not just humans that might want to harm us. Just before we went to sleep, our host warned us to watch out for scorpions, because if we get bitten, it could be deadly. And then I feel something crawling inside my sleeping bag.
Can you on your lights or calm this down?
Luckily, it was just this huge rhinoceros beetle in my sleeping bag. Not my favorite sleeping companion, but better than a scorpion. But in the morning, I'm in for a shock of another kind.
Going?
But it turns out we are not going anywhere. They want me out of the tribe, effective immediately. As soon as he says it, I know exactly what the problem is, and I apologize profusely for singing the Vanilla Ice song the night before. But he says that's not it. They're worried about the constant security problems and exposure that I bring them. And I have to admit, they're right. I don't blame them for wanting me out. The tribe has spoken. Now, I just have to say my goodbyes. Whatever has happened, I'm really grateful for the experiences that I've had. Now there's only one thing left for me to do. I rent myself an Afghan Corolla and head off towards my next adventure, wherever that may be. Just kidding. There's no way my Kochi family would ever let me go alone. They've decided to walk me all the way back to where we began and then start their trek all over again. It's another touching gesture by an Afghan host on this trip. I may have failed to find the snow leopard and had my trek with the nomads cut short, but I've discovered something far greater: Afghan hospitality. I am a foreigner in a land where the people are supposed to be hostile to my presence. But the overriding response to me from Afghans on this journey has been one of welcome. And for that, I'm grateful.